Mr. Regev, I need to clarify this tonight because clearly the evidence you're giving us must be given to the war crimes investigations that are being carried out in Gaza. You are saying that our evidence of flechettes, of phosphorus bombs, of fragmentation bombs, of shells that hit balconies and then spewed shrapnel around the walls, these things were done not by Israel but by Hamas, correct?
I did not say that whatsoever, sir. You're putting words in my mouth. All I said was any objective journalistic or otherwise investigation is extremely difficult to do in a situation where people are not free to give evidence of what they saw.
Mr. Regev, I can assure you that Mr. Miller has been in very many conflicts, Congo and many others, and is extremely experienced and has moved perfectly freely around that territory. There is no question of his having been strong-armed by Hamas, or indeed the people that he has spoken to having been strong-armed by Hamas. As you well know, Hamas is virtually in hiding when it comes to these situations.
Not anymore. They came out since the fighting started, and they've been taking their revenge very strongly against their political opponents, as we've been documented. But can Mr. Miller walk down the street in Syria and ask people, do they like President Assad? What will they say? If he walks down the street in North Korea, do you like President Kim? What will people say?
Mr.
Hamas is an authoritarian regime.
Jonathan Miller is not in North Korea. Jonathan Miller is not in Syria. He is in Gaza. And he has reported
an authoritarian regime, sir.
Heinous.
A very authoritarian regime.
He has
a very authoritarian regime. Do you deny that Gaza has an authoritarian regime?
I'm grateful to you for joining us. A Disasters Emergency Committee aid appeal for Gaza is going ahead without TV channel support after reported disagreements among the main broadcasters. The coalition of leading British charities are hoping to raise money to increase the aid currently going to Gazans. This is the first time a major DEC appeal will not appear on TV screen. The BBC says it is concerned that it might risk compromising public confidence in the BBC's impartiality.
The broadcasters couldn't reach a consensus and therefore felt that they couldn't back the appeal, but they have reassured me that they will be covering the appeal on the news. So I don't think that is the issue. As far as we're concerned, we've got many people on the ground working in Gaza already saving lives and getting food and water to the survivors, the innocent survivors of this awful conflict. What is needed is to ramp that up with increased funding now, sadly, to make them able to do much more.
And I'll be reporting on how the media has reported the Gaza conflict in Dispatches, a documentary at 11:05 on Channel 4 tonight, Gaza Unseen. After the launch of a £10 million programme to tackle knife crime, the first test of the policy has found it wanting. New figures show killings with knives are up 10%, with an 18% increase in robberies with knives and sharp instruments in England and Wales. The government's so-called knife czar has told Channel 4 News it is difficult to have an accurate picture of the scale of knife crime, but there are indications it's coming down. You may be disturbed by some of the images of knife wounds that appear from the start of Simon Israel's report.
And in the 4.5 years that I was in high-security BCAT prisons, no one showed me disrespect.
Here's one tiny element of the government's £10 million tackling knife crime programme, now into its 7th month. Sid Syed tours schools in Thames Valley, one of the 10 targeted areas, promoting the anti-knife message.